Here are just a few mistakes I made on my Porsche 944's timing belt and water pump job, so you don't have to make the same mistakes. Now the first one was not a mistake, but you can see my radiator hose was way too close to the cooling fans and it was rubbing up against it. It was getting extremely hot to the point where the radiator fans were melting. I had rubber flying everywhere. I had to go ahead and drain the coolant out of the car so I could fix this issue. So with the coolant drained, I could go ahead and remove the hose from the car. Just had to get a quick socket in there and the hose came right off. After pulling it out, you can see where the hose was rubbing up against the fans. Now I did not puncture it, but I did want to go ahead and switch it out anyways, just because this is now a weak point. Now the next issue I had was with this balance shaft either right here. There's supposed to be 0.5 millimeter of clearance on the bottom and 0 to 1 millimeters of preload on top. I could not get it to do that, however, and after doing some research, I found out it's because this balance shaft tensioner was installed 180 degrees upside down, so I had to go ahead and rotate that. And I also found out that the timing belt tensioner was also rotated 180 degrees upside down. Probably not the worst thing in the world. It is still important to make sure that they're rotated properly. Now really all it was causing was the timing belt and balance shaft belt to be a little bit too loose. Now while it is better to be a little bit too loose than too tight, I still want to make sure they're tensioned properly. So after I fixed those, I did go ahead and put the old coolant hose back on, and you can see at one point this did rub up against the fans as well. Then I went ahead and put all the coolant back into the car and removed all the air from the system. And in the midst of doing all of this, when I was removing the J boot from the air intake, I accidentally ripped it, but I wasn't that worried about it because it was already dry rotted and there was a hole in the bottom I didn't know about, so it was best to replace it anyways. But it just really sucks because now I have to wait on a new one, but it'll be here tomorrow. But that's all the mistakes I made on my Porsche 944's timing belt and water pump job, so hopefully you don't have to.